So we're back at the quarters. Gonna be trying Enchanted Item again. It is interesting, right? Skill, like the idea must be skills are better day one. And I think that's not, well, skills are more valuable than an Enchanted Item on average. I think that's like sort of true, but the nerfs to poison and burn were significant. Like a +1 poison on like a catfish and a jellyfish isn't necessarily going to win you the first day. Um, the 40 damage weapon usually wins you the first day. There's a lot of stuff, but you are really broke. Like you only have 8 gold if you do this. Having 14 is a lot more. Yeah, since the nerfs I stopped going skills as much. We'll just get this catfish. Catfish is really good. We love the poison. We'll try to buff this a little bit. I mean, obviously it has the poison built in, but we get the healing also. So I do like getting regen here instead of getting a weapon. Although weapon could be like a Lang, so I guess there is like some thought. We'll grab this. Okay, we didn't get anything great. This isn't actually super good here. I shouldn't have grabbed that because this is a friend that we're going to be playing. So yeah, I definitely wish I went to regen, I guess. We can beat Viper, so we'll go for that. We'll try to get the additional poison. So we either get the extract. I mean, this would be a nice thing. Gives us more poison healing. Fang, just okay as a weapon. Toxic Fang, obviously really good. Regen, pretty good. I mean, 1 regen is not a ton, but it's not nothing. It's a little extra health. Yeah, we win easily. I mean, this can kill you if you have nothing, but if you have anything, it's pretty easy to outpace. Extract's probably the best one for us here, as much as I like Toxic Fang. Um, hmm. So Curio is good because we can buff poison. It is very expensive a lot of the time. However, getting the upgrade only buffs this if we are able to haste it. So I think what I'm going to do, I don't know why I did that right away, is go here, look for some poison upgrades, manage to find 0, haste upgrades. Now, this actually can haste this, so we will buy this. And I think it's probably a mistake to buy anything else. I do like having a feather. Feather sells for 1. I will buy a feather just in case for later. I don't think it's worth buffing anything else. I don't even want to be playing this. Our plan is just to go straight for the catfish to try to carry us to victory today. So we do need to take an extra XP at some point. Are we strong enough to win this fight? I think maybe we are. So I think I will just take the XP now, and I don't necessarily have to take it tomorrow. Although I will. I often do take XP. Um, because between this fight, what do they have? They have a jellyfish. They have some stuff. They have no regen or anything. We have a lot of healing. Unfortunately, our healing sort of went off at a weird time. Um, Helps us counteract a little of their poison. I think we're good here. We are taking a lot from this mantis shrimp hit is going to do a lot, but we healed it right back up. Yeah, I mean, so the scaling on this is very good. Remember, it also scales the heal as well. Basically, we have this for the short term to provide the haste, and it's not a long cooldown. It's pretty nice. It's not a long cooldown. I feel like it kind of said I was on a long cooldown. So long term, this is probably best. We could re-roll. We don't have a lot of gold. I mean, obviously we're looking for a poison one. I think just maybe taking the right-handed is okay here. It just gives us a little bit of something if we have like the katana at some point. Regen or study. 3 regen strong. I do like just the study though. I think we win. Oh, okay. Interesting. I do love just power leveling. I wonder if taking econ is better here. Or we could go for the 3. I think we beat the scrapper. Oh, we got the. So this does 5 DPS. This does 1 DPS. Okay, well, easy enough. This is actually probably. How much does this do? This does a little bit more than 1. This does. slightly. Huh. So this does 8, this does 6. 20% of the time, this does an extra 100%. So it does, is that right? Or, well, no, this has, I mean, this has crit chance in general, right? This doesn't even have crit chance. Yeah, so this is definitely better. This isn't giving crit chance, of course, because this is a friend. Yeah, we'll go like this. And, yeah, well, I think we can beat this. Um, this is really not super dangerous as long as you have the damage to kill it. Scaling poison and healing, I think, should get there. Yeah, the only problem is your damage output usually isn't super high at this point in the game. They have a decent amount. This heal is actually pretty effective. You know, it's like eight healing per second. Obviously, when we're stacking 20, 30 poison, we overwhelm that. But it is if you just have some bad weapons, it's enough to sometimes just brick you here. So he's gonna be a little careful against Scrapper. Otherwise, Scrapper I think is like a little bit of a freebie. And that's not going to do anything for us, but we do level up. I don't think we necessarily need a weapon. Loot items, there's some good ones. Obviously, poison's very good. Regen's just okay. So, since we have the hasting, I think it's okay to buff this now. Just provides a little free value because it increases the rate of growth. Do we have... I can never tell if we have one more floor or not because of the way this works. So, I mean, I'm leaning towards Mountain Pass here. My thinking is that we don't actually get any benefit here. We could get a medium item. There's some good ones. We do have 15 gold. We could take 60 health. But Mountain Pass, I mean, the fight is risky. We could obviously just take the income. Or we could take 2 gold, 1 XP. I think we maybe risk the fight. Okay, we end up basically down a gold or 2 gold there. That's fine though. I think it's worth the risk. The only thing is, so you can fight bosses or PVEs that are a day ahead, I think, is what someone said. I hope that's true. I think they're level 2, right? So they... Hello? Okay, so if we don't get immediately crushed by all the... Oh, they actually have a lot of front-loaded damage. We might be in trouble here. If they crit on this thing, I think we just die. Yep. Wow. Okay. So that was a tough one. Um, just a crit on a silver grenade, even though they were a level behind. That just happens sometimes. That's one of the reasons why like burst damage is just so good. It doesn't really matter how good someone's build is. You can just crit them down. We'll see what is available. Pufferfish. Okay, we do have hasting. I think it's a little bit late for laying. We're not really going towards that. Paying the 4 gold for the refresh is rough. I think we can upgrade the shovel. Even just for the econ, it's probably worth selling stuff off. What are we looking at here? Ooh, bottle. Actually, I mean, I like bottled lightning better than some of the other things we have. Okay, so max health is max health. What does upgrading this do? Is it just an additional second? Does upgrading this increase the time? Increasing this is not bad. I wonder what this does when we... I don't think it increases the time when sold, right? I think if you get to a certain level, maybe it does. I could look into that. I'm not going to, but I could. So I think we can beat this. The one problem is if you're relying on poison damage, you don't pressure their shield, which means that they stack damage on you. We do have healing, however. And we do have some damage, like we have the Piranha. So they're getting, every 5 seconds, and then every 8 seconds they're getting 30 shield. We are about every 5 seconds going to be doing 26 damage, which means they're not stacking shield that much. And yeah, we take them down, we're at full health. I mean, they're stacking on the healing. I wonder, can we check how much this healed? Yeah, I mean, this healed us for 600 of the, we're at 400. And we only took 200 damage, or 300 damage, so we would have been fine without any healing, it looks like. But just interesting to take a look at. Upgrade a bronze tier item. Now I think most of our bronze tier items are upgraded fine. A poison buff is really nice here. I don't think we need another right hand. I think I will reroll this one. I think getting a poison one is just like enough good enough now that we have 2. So we can either take some gold, get some chocolate bars, look for some medium items. I don't know what medium items we're really excited about. I would say beach ball is what we'll grab, but we're not like super excited about it. I kind of would love to have this, basically just giving us 2 gold per thing. And we could, so at some point we'll probably sell off the rocket boots to buff the beach ball. However, we want the beach ball to be buffed first. At level 1, the beach ball is not very good. Now this haste aquatic or toys. Now this is a toy, which means we probably don't want it in, because we want the haste to go on a jellyfish. So I think we want to maximize the chance it goes on the jellyfish by doing something like this. And is this a toy? No. What? Oh, this just also has, it sort of like does some kind of grouping. Huh. Okay, we don't have much money, so we could either take an item, but or we could take a. Is my thing just bugging? I might have crashed. 1 second. Okay, so we're back. Medium item or skill. I like skills. I don't know. I've been really big on random skills. This is probably not going to be super useful for us. The only thing it works on is wire. Although I didn't realize we actually have this buffing the wire. That's interesting. So we'll see. I think we're in an okay position. Here we have decent items. 600 health versus 550. Beach ball, diving helmet. Okay, they have the jellyfish, which is shielding. Of course, all our damage is poison, so them actually having a bunch of shielding is not going to be great. They have a better beach ball is one of the, I'd say, major issues. It looks like we're stacking poison a lot faster, which is nice. And I think that's probably what the fight comes down to, is who's stacking the most. Yeah, they're pretty heavily on... Oh, I never realized this sort of has the seaweed ability, but shield. Huh. That's interesting. I'm sure this is probably some interesting diving diving helmet combos. The only thing I think I've ever done with it is I used it with figurehead to reduce something's cooldown pretty significantly. Oh, yes, speaking of figurehead. I don't think figurehead does anything for us here. And you know what? We shouldn't have clicked on this because we just don't have any money. So I think we made a mistake. Now, I love having... What's the one that lets you get there? Star Shot, and I think Astrolabe. I'm so surprised like fishing rod doesn't work. I think I don't think it's weapons that like give us the best chance to get something useful. Maybe shield items. Not this one probably. These tools. Which ones are tools? Tools. I wonder if it's better to have this. What if we do this over this just for the extra 10% CDR here? Probably not nothing. We should beat Hellbilly pretty easily. The only problem I've ever had with Hellbilly is if you just can't kill fast enough through the textiles, this does scale up quite a bit. However, having healing, I think, means that we just are going to just come out on top. I mean, this gaining... yeah, every 4 seconds this... So basically in between all of this... So this fires every 4 seconds, I guess, roughly, when this is hasted. So in between almost every cast, it's going to gain +4. Plus we have the beach ball, which is a good upgrade. I think we get a skill this coming level. Obviously poison skills. When you haste your items. Okay, we have a lot of things that haste, and we're probably building towards haste. Okay, so obviously we don't take study, right? Because study is strictly worse than just taking the 2 gold 1 XP. So we're rolling out study. There's some small items, obviously. Jellyfish is pretty good here. Jellyfish is a weird item because it says haste on it, but it hates itself. So the only one it's really great with, I think, is pufferfish. Ultimately, I basically always want to do the escort. So basically, we ended up getting a study. So I was just 5 regen I do like, but I think upgrading the beach ball is just enough worth it. It hits an additional item. Right? Additional aquatic or toy. The only aquatics we have are catfish and pufferfish. This is going every 5 seconds. So that means it's going to tick this for an extra charge, and it's definitely going to hit both, which means it's definitely going to buff this. I think we're good here. We could think about using insect wing. Eventually we want to, buff the we'll sell off the rocket boots, but the rocket boots are still doing some good work here. Because this is basically hitting both our aquatics anyways. So, although the being a tool means that we get a slightly low. So we actually have more HP than they do. It looks like they're going burn. Burn is generally good against poison because it just ticks twice as fast. So if you have like similar levels of scaling, and I think they usually balance to be similar. It looks like we're applying way more poison than they're applying burn. So, and we have some healing. Obviously, our healing is ramping quite a bit. And it looks like we're getting crit chance because every time we haste, we get crit chance. So we have, you can say like, I mean, this is our best skill by far, but the extra poison is pretty good. And then we have two skills that are literally doing nothing because, I guess we have one weapon and, no, we actually took it out, so we have no weapons. Small non-weapon. So I never know what to do with this one. We're gonna have to sell something. I don't think we want this. Let's just sell. I don't like to sell too much, but I definitely play a little suboptimally in terms of selling things because I'm afraid of just forgetting. Oh, Shockwave is interesting with the haste build. Let's pick it up just to give us something. It works well with these two. Again, we'll offer this. I think it's time to maybe get out of this and get into this. It, gains 20 damage whenever we haste. We're hasting quite a bit. I think at this point, actually, it's better to haste the beach ball, which can then haste, which would just be hasting them often. One downside of Shock Ray is it means that Catfish is now only 2/3 to get the beach ball haste. I think ultimately that's fine. I think it's just enough stronger than what we had. We don't need ammo yet. Having the ammo is good if you're going to go into depth charge eventually, because depth charge really wants like, I'd say 2 to 3 ammo. One's a little too few. You don't actually need a ton because at some point, like if you've done 5 depth charge triggers and you haven't won, what are you really doing at that point? Friend is good. I think we'll just go skill here though. We benefit from most skills. Not the burn ones, I was going to say, not burn ones yet, right? So Scoville is pretty strong. The question of how fast can we do about 1400? I think this kills in about 11 seconds. No. It triggers. I think maybe we can take them. We have a pretty strong board. I think it will be close. So basically at 11 seconds this triggers. This pickled pepper triggers. And that's usually what sets you into like you're getting burnt down phase of the fight, and you just sort of like there's no more surviving from that point. But I think okay, we need to survive 5 more seconds. It's gonna be very close. Okay, well we got a shock hit. You can see we would have lasted 1 second more. It looks like so it was a pretty close one. Yeah, basically, if this goes off, you're almost never going to see this go off twice, I don't think. It's just hard to survive at this level for that to happen. Look, I mean, we healed for 940. I mean, the Resto Catfish has been amazing for us. Sometimes in the poison builds, you want to fit in like a seaweed. I don't even think we'd need that going forward. So we're looking for obsidian seaweed. I was just saying we don't need seaweed. I think we'll go obsidian seaweed here. That seems interesting. And I think it's time to replace this and throw in our seaweed. Okay, just as I was sort of trash talking the seaweed, I think. So basically, the way to, so this only buffs the healing, buffs the damage, but not the other way around. So this is likely to attack. They attack at the same rate. However, I guess they're equally likely to get buffed, right? But they attack at the same rate. Yeah, I don't think it matters actually. It might be. Am I missing something? Maybe it's just the same. Bronze items. We have a few bronze items I think we could sell off at this point. Maybe we do that here. Oh, okay, we see a water wheel. Where does that leave us is the question. Because it's hard to fit all of this stuff. What's not making the cut? So we're selling rocket boots, I think, obviously. And we're selling rocket boots in order to fit in water wheel. Assuming, is this the one who sells bronze items? Yes, okay, so let's ditch some bronze items real quick. Those are the two we definitely want to ditch so far. We might want to reduce water wheel's cooldown, so I'll keep this. Are we ditching shock? Or, I think we want pufferfish, because that's going to turn on pretty heavily with the water wheel. And I think we want this still, because I think the healing's going to be nice, and the damage is going to scale quite a bit. So I think our board looks something like this +1. Is it better to scale the water wheel? So yeah, we might have to sell one more thing. Maybe sell this, because this will give us haste. And yeah, we'll buy water wheel. We have the gold. Captain's wheel is also interesting. I think at some point we can only fit so much on. We will buff the water wheel, haste everything for 3 seconds. And of course we can't fit in the shockwave. We won't sell it yet, and I think we will buff this cooldown and let us get an extra gold here. I don't know if we want to buff this yet. It's probably not going to keep it. Getting a pearl eventually seems pretty good. What's likely to trigger the most? I think pufferfish should trigger the most. These two have the lowest cooldowns. So we'll try that. And this should be a stronger board. We will get to upgrade something. I think our best upgrade is water wheel, or is it catfish? Well, I mean, we have all of these. Actually, pretty much everything on our board is a very good upgrade. I think water wheel. This is how our build comes online, I think. So I think we try that. So when is water wheel going to trigger, right? This hits at 5 seconds, moving this up 2. Therefore, if the pufferfish hasn't triggered, which it likely won't yet, this will trigger at so 5 probably, so it's getting -2, so it's 6.7 at the latest, unless we get a haste trigger on it, or the pufferfish has seen 2 haste triggers, which means this finishes at 6 seconds. So this will probably trigger right around 6 seconds. So, on 6 seconds we come online, and then, everything starts getting hasted, gets a little more unpredictable. You can kind of calculate the first, couple sequence of the fight. So again, we're playing against Burn. Burn, I think, has been pretty good against Poison in this meta, because it just, deals damage twice as quickly. I think we have a stronger setup. We just do more damage, we just do more healing and damage. Yeah, so we're getting a lot of crit chance from the acceleration, and this is growing quite a bit. We also get full crit chance from this. If we could, is there any more haste item? I think maybe a jellyfish is what we're looking for. I think we're just getting a weapon to sell weapon. Get weapon, sell weapon. Oh, aquatic, perfect. We don't necessarily need any of these. You can always take Chum Bucket. It sells for what you pay for it. We don't actually want another aquatic item. We'd actually prefer if this hit, like having the goggles in, which doesn't allow, because it's not a toy either, right? Yeah, so the beach ball has to hit one of our 4 aquatic items, and they're all pretty good targets. We will roll though. There's so many good hits here, including seaweed and jellyfish. Perfect. I don't actually know. So this will mean slightly fewer triggers on our catfish. However, this will trigger we'd like this in between 2 things that trigger a lot. I think the pufferfish probably goes off more than the seaweed, although we should check that at the end of the fight, see which one goes off more often. And we'll just put this in between the beach ball and whatever one that is. Can we beat the Lich? I think maybe. And Lich has that very interesting Necronomicon. Zookeeper has a great skill. Whenever your friend go off, you get a poison trigger. I'm going to try the Lich. It has 1900 health, we only have 1300. But we have a ton of really great scaling. Actually, I mean, this being frozen is not great for us. We have a lot of great healing, so unfortunately they get a real advantage poison-wise. Oh, you know what? Maybe I misevaluated this because the Necronomicon goes off so fast. Although we're hitting for big numbers with the seaweed, although getting frozen there is going to be tough. Do we just die before we tick? Oh no, oh wow. Right in time we got the trick. Okay, that was way closer than I thought it was going to be. I would say in hindsight that was probably a bad decision. Although we get this incredible skill that freezes, so we really get paid off there. Your poison gets for plus. The first time you use your leftmost item each fight, haste one item. Okay, we love haste. So this gives us 4 poison. That's very good. It gives us 4 poison on 3 different things. That's very, very good. However, is 4 haste triggers... Is 5 haste triggers better? I kind of think so. And we want it on something that triggers a lot. So, yeah, I know 4 is really good. But I think this is better, like scaling wise. And then we move this down here because the beach ball triggers more than this. Although I did say we want to look at whether the pufferfish triggers more than the seaweed. So I'm almost certain it does, but we should look into it. Oh, this is interesting too. This just hastes an item. I think ultimately this gives itself haste more often. Although you could imagine the first Eden going next to the catfish. We could, swap sides with this. Well, I guess just any item. So I guess you can't target this. So it's probably not great, but it's an interesting one. I think it's a pretty strong item. I think we look for shield items because we're not looking for tools. That doesn't do much. Basically, we just got some gold. Medium items, obviously pufferfish and beach ball, great. I do love just the XP here. I think I'm going to take XP, although I think there's a huge argument for looking for an extra. Beach ball is a great upgrade here. It hits an additional target. Pufferfish goes down 1 second, but I think hasting an additional target is actually better because it will decrease the pufferfish cooldown by 2 every 5 seconds. Okay, so they have a lot of shielding here, which is not great against poison. Although they have a huge buff in their damage output. Okay, so they might just damage us to death. They're not really worried about shielding that much. Okay, we go back to full health, but they've scaled a ton on their damage-wise. Yeah, I mean, that freeze from the Lich really came up big, I think. Yeah, they have an interesting build here. When this gains haste, your shield items. Submersible, does this have any way to get... Oh, the cog gives it haste. Yeah, their build, isn't item quite online yet, although it hit for some big numbers there. So, we don't have any large items to sell. Did I? No, I think I just got this. I was going to say, was my bench full? I think we'll just take study. The additional XP is nice. We're not super constrained on gold. I think there's enough good of these. And yeah, I think that was worth it. And I think we'll just try to reduce this cooldown a little bit more. I don't know what I mean, the breakpoints, I guess, are the odd, or the even numbers. Weapons we don't really need. We'll go to the docks. I think, again, shield is our best bet at being useful. Not really what we're looking for. Turtle, I'm pretty sure we crush here because it's mostly a shielding battle. It actually has some good items for us. I think it has a gold catfish, though, which won't combine, although we could just put it in for the jellyfish. Oh, actually, at the end of this fight, let me see how much all my things are doing, because I've really been dropping the ball there. Unfortunately, if the seaweed is silver, the catfish is gold. If those were switched, those would be excellent items for us. Yeah, we're just coming out with a lot of poison. They do no poison. Obviously, the hunker down skill is amazing. The bar of gold and the jewels are fine. Okay, so what triggered more? This triggered 11 times. This triggered 3 times. Okay, so huge disparity. That makes sense because we're getting so many haste triggers. Yeah, 16, 25. Yeah, I mean, obviously. Incredibly, I guess not incredibly, but interestingly, the pufferfish and the catfish did about the same poison, even though this triggered twice as much. That makes sense. This has scaling poison. But it's interesting to see how much that is. Okay, 40 gold here is great. It basically means our economy is fully online. Okay, so we really want to hit level 10, I think. Again, we could go medium. So we're going to go convoy. So we won't hit level 10 here, right? Oh, wait. How does this work? See, this thing is always like a little buggy. I don't actually know. I think we have 1 hour left. So I think we will get one. I think to guarantee we hit 10, we just do the God the Convoy. I think this gives us like a 2 out of 3 chance of doing it, and is better long term. I think we can greed here. Yeah, okay, we got lucky. Actually, if we get some of these abilities, either the crit chance or when you crit haste, that's incredible because obviously haste grants a crit chance. So you can see the crit chance of these items is at 8, 11, so it's going up quite a bit over the fight. Um, and if we get down to these longer fights, because we do have the ability to heal a lot, so we can play these longer attrition-y fights. So these could be good, basically, is what I'm saying. We didn't get a skill, we got a little call, but we did get the XP we needed to get the poison upgrade. Now, absolutely, so one thing I always try to, don't try to do this, I do it accidentally, is that these two are already buffed, especially like the catfish. A lot of times you're playing with it the whole game and you sort of, you're like, oh, this is my best item, like this is the one I want to buff, this one's doing so much. But this is already enchanted, you can't stack enchants. With stacking just on the pufferfish, it just doubles the poison of it. It's beautiful. So can we actually, is there a way, so one thing okay, let's look at a few things. This triggers off our leftmost item. The item we have triggering the most is pufferfish. So this only works 5 times, so it doesn't actually need a hit, but we would like it to hit as fast as possible. We want the pufferfish next to the water wheel to get the most triggers off the water wheel. That's all obvious. We also want the pufferfish next to the jellyfish, because this triggers this, which in turn triggers this. So there's no way to have this on the left and also have all those things in the same order. This makes his eyes look very sunken. I do love the some of the art for the enchanted ones. Not so much this I feel like most obsidian ones look cool. I don't really love this one. But a lot of the enchanted ones look really cool. I think we'll go here. There's a lot of really good skills. These are not the best. Obviously, we'll take the poison one. The ones we were really hoping for is like, I think, can you get this to diamond? Or like buffing either of these two is amazing. Or buffing static acceleration. Obviously, we had a few misses, but we get I could say a minor hit. I think it's worth the 5 gold. And then we can, I think we have 2 slots open. We only need 1, I guess. They're level 8, we're level 10. I say that gives us a pretty good advantage here. They play a lot of poison builds. We also poison build. So if you're both playing a poison game, it really comes down to who can stack the numbers. They have a thing that's about to hit us for 60 poison on a pretty quick thing. So it might be they're stacking the poison quicker. We have a lot of healing. They have a lot of regen. So coming down to which is which. Now our poison seems to be catching up. It looks like our healing is just keeping us. Yeah, and we also, this does hit for, a good amount of damage. It also looked like a crit. When you're talking about, I think they had, what, 1700? It's weird that their HP bar just goes away. Okay, 1700 HP. This hit for 1200 or 1300 damage. They had a lot of regen over the course of the fight, obviously, so, we had to do way more than just 1700 damage. Obviously, our poison did a ton of. So, but this big impact, I think, yeah. So, yeah, good fight to win. They're all good fights to win, but that was one that, could have gone either way. Here, I think we're just looking at, picking up some items if we can. Medium items we can sell for an extra 2, so we will. Just cash in that shock ray. I don't think he's ever coming back in, unfortunately. Just as, there's only so much space you have. Toys, are there any toys we want? Yeah, beach ball, right? So we'll look for beach ball. Don't quite find it yet. Oh, 6s are really expensive. I didn't realize how expensive that was. Charge in other non-weapons. No, we'd prefer if this was like a haste. If this was a haste, we might consider it over beach. Buffing the beach ball is actually really huge. I think we can beat Dragon. It doesn't offer great rewards here, but it does. I think it's what, 5 XP, which is, I think, much better than what is it, 2 or 3 that the other ones offer. I think it's just 2, right? So, just trying to go for the extra 2 XP. I think we beat them, even in their fire and their poison. I keep talking about that. I think we just come out way. We get started a lot faster, and then by the time they are online, we can heal and just crit for damage. I mean, we got 600 poison compared to their thing. If they hit if this fight caught triggers, like if you don't kill fast enough and that one gets an additional hit, it ends up being a big deal. 20 regen isn't bad actually. Adds a good amount of effective HP. I think we're just looking for poison skills here. Obviously a poison deck. 15 poison is nice. 4 poison is nice. 4 poison plus burn is also nice. I think that's better than just the 15. It even adds 8 to this. And I think it's almost always worth it to take this, like, roll the dice thing. It appears to just be very good. I think this is just 20 gold, which is like a sort of a lesser outcome for us here, because we do have a lot of gold. I mean, any gold you have isn't helping you in the fight you're getting into. We'd love to be able to upgrade this. Obviously, we can't. There's so many good curios here, though. We'll start here. Damage, I don't think we necessarily need. We don't slow. We can get an additional heal. So what do we want to add crit chance to? We'll add crit chance to the pufferfish. There's probably no wrong answers between the 3 of these here. I'm sure there's a mathematically correct one, but I don't think there's any like devastatingly bad ones. I'll just buff the healing of these 2. You know, it's minor, but it's worthwhile. Slow. We have no slow effects. I do love this one. There's so many great slow effects. Dock lines, clamor, stuff like that. That buffing the time is great. Okay, buff poison. I don't think we need to buff damage in particular. This is a great haste item. It's possible that's one. I think we'll even take the health. I'm not going to take the rest of these. So we don't want to. So poison, we want to buff either this or this. This, you know, obviously gives us the healing as well. I think this is just so good. It's because it's doubled. Also, it's the pufferfish. I think it's triggering the most times, so it's applying the most poison. I think just the added healing is the only other thing to consider. We're fighting at a level 10. We're level 11. So I think we're in decent shape. I think we have a strong board. And we have a lot of opportunities for upgrades, right? We have nothing at diamond. I think we only have 1 gold item. We have 2 gold items, I guess. Okay, laying is rough for us because if this crits, it's a 30% crit. It's going to freeze some stuff, but it just means that they can kill us in 2 hits. We don't have shielding. We have healing, so we're very vulnerable to being one-shot. Or just being killed all in 1 hit. Like, they could still... Like, if they were to go off here and get the 30% crit, we would have just died. Obviously, you know, we didn't, right? But it just means... Like, this is a build that sort of always has sort of like a puncher's chance of killing you there, and that's just in a way. But that's why max XP, that's why I'm, like, so into XP and, you know, leveling, because avoiding those situations. I think we can sell... I don't know if can this give you a big item? I mean, probably can give you whatever you have room for. Bunch of goofy stuff. We're just taking the gold. Sells items. We could take some XP here, but I think just getting the chance at upgrading some items is really worthwhile. Didn't quite get them. Interesting stuff. Not for our build, but just interesting in general. Weapons platform doesn't have... I don't know what Ogesa's Guardian. This one offers an extra XP, so I think we're going for that. Pharaoh's Khan doesn't really do what we are looking for. I think Guardian maybe has something, but this one has a skill that I think works when you use a large item, haste 2 small items, or the Keen Eye. Both of those are very good for us. They basically just offer additional haste triggers, which is pretty much all we're looking for. Basically, the problem we have, right, is that in the time between... Wow, okay, so we lost this fight. That was what I would say. That's really unexpected. I thought we were doing really well. I guess I didn't... Yeah, this just triggered 3 times. I mean, battery makes this trigger a lot faster. I guess we got frozen at some point, right? Yeah, just freeze 2 items for 1 second. This triggered 4 times, yeah. I guess we were kind of slow and we just eventually got crushed by this. So in the time between these triggering, we definitely have the ability to just get sort of run over. I guess we did that as I was sort of saying it. So, okay, I think this heal also scales its damage. Again, this is the other way around here. The poison is scaling this heal is scaling the damage. Temporary boost is pretty good, but haste, slow, I mean, this is all sort of our area. Again, this is a great slow item, not really what we're looking for. Looking for any of these haste items. These are just other items. Not quite, we didn't get, any upgrades, unfortunately. We haven't been able to upgrade in a while. I guess we'll look here, because any of these upgrades, again, great. Nothing for us yet. And again, nothing. So yeah, that's one of the reasons I think maybe we're sort of falling behind, is because we haven't seen upgrades in a while. We're 12, they're 10, or they're 11, so we're keeping a little XP lead, which means we get a little health lead usually, just a little bit. They look like they could be a very heavy burn board, and this seems really slow. We're coming up pretty slow here. So yeah, if they just stack a bunch of burn on us, we could be in trouble. We do freeze them, but yeah, it looks like, are we just gonna get crushed before we can get, um, yeah, wow, we just got crushed before we get our poison online. Okay, so we took 9, we're now at 9, so we have, one loss brings us to egg, and then, yeah, that was a tough fight to lose. Obviously, we're looking for a water wheel here. Did not find it. Didn't find it again. I don't know if there's any room to transition off this build, really. Everything's a non-weapon, so these are all potentially good. Nothing for us. Shipwreck. Any chance Shipwreck's better than something we have? Um, hmm. So, is there any chance Shipwreck is better than these two items? I think there is a chance. I'm not sure that it is. I'm gonna say let's try it out in the PvE fight and see how it looks. Can we beat this guy? This guy is really good against non-weapon items, which I guess this is a weapon, so I think we'll just go with the experiment. I think we should be able to beat this, and I'm just worried about getting frozen. They changed something with his hammer that I feel like makes it just you get very vulnerable to stuff. So yeah, we're getting like really. So it's nice when this triggers, it does jump these up too, which means this is getting a 4-second charge every time one of these triggers. These are all perma-hasted. Yeah, I'm guessing this is good. The other thing to consider is, oh, we get the upgraded 13. What do we want to upgrade? I'm guessing this is the upgrade. The more this triggers, reducing this by 1 second doesn't seem as good as just getting more triggers. Upgrading this is only 10%. Crit chance, this does enchant really well. So if we get an enchant, it's probably going over here. We'll just look for pufferfish or seaweed. We find neither. Actually, I didn't really look too closely at the other options. Maybe I should have. Small aquatic, health and shield. I think some of these could be useful. I wonder if we ever want this. What can we sell a couple things just to create some room? This isn't optimal, obviously, but I'm gonna grab pearl. I feel like it is like an outside chance it's valuable here. I don't think we need either of these. So my thinking with pearl is maybe it's better than seaweed here, because it triggers after 5 seconds, and it triggers every time we use an aquatic item, this triggers. I feel like these might just like chain trigger. I think I am going to try this. We do already have some healing here. I think our damage will be pretty strong. It's all going to be poison damage, but I think it's going to be pretty strong. It looks like they're a scaling build too. I haven't seen this Salt Claw. Okay, I don't know what that is. I think that's part of a new friends package. So I think these should just chain together and just be constantly triggering. However, this I guess doesn't trigger that fast, so it's possible we just have a huge healing deficit here. But it does look like our poison numbers have gone really through the roof. And we do stack some shield, right? This is a defensive item. This did 800 shielding. So that was good. Well, when you haste or slow, this gains damage, and also it has double damage. Okay. So what's hasting? This is hasting. This is hasting and slowing. Okay. Oh, and if you buff it, it has half slow duration. That's interesting. Okay. Yeah, they have a couple things not doing much, but this seems like a build. If they like get a new right side of their board, they could really come online, because they almost beat us pretty good there. Going into day 11, I think we're at 8 wins. Still have one of them. So this only works in the next fight. That would be the PvE one. Hopefully we won't have a problem with the PvE one. finally get the catfish upgrade. Only at gold, actually. I didn't realize we've been in silver pretty much the whole game. Nothing else. Diving helmet is obviously interesting with shipwreck. Basically allows you to give any one item multicast. We have a shipwreck upgrade we could look for, although it's really not that good. It just gives the crit chance, but 10% crit chance is pretty valuable here. Oh, okay. Does this only work on our leftmost item? Because if this is the case, we should definitely be doing this. And then, actually, we wanted this to be all the way there. So this has some good items for weapon builds. This is like property builds. I think this is our best bet. Obviously, it's 5 XP. Also, its destruction item only happens at 11 seconds. By 11 seconds, we should have enough poison on them because this triggers at 5 seconds that we will win the fight even if it destroys any given weapon. It did destroy probably our best item. Or maybe this is our best item. This is our best defensive item, but I think we just easily win the fight anyways. If there's nothing really that we can get that's super useful, it's possible that we eventually enchant something with burn, so that would be nice. Yeah, so if we can enchant one of these things with burn, we could imagine them being really good. First time you use an aquatic item. First time you use an item, haste 3 aquatic items. This is just extra haste triggers. All our stuff is just infinitely hasted. So maybe that wasn't like super valuable. But the haste triggers are very good. So it's one of those things where like you want to get as many haste triggers as possible. I guess we'll just take the rerolls because everything is... We have a lot of gold and there's certain things that are very good. That finds gold items. Okay, we're spending a lot of gold though. Eventually we're going to have to find something. I just spent a ton of gold, but... The potential for shipwreck or pufferfish. Find neither. Just spent like 80 gold. That was not great, obviously. Level 14. They're level 14, so it seems like the levels have evened up. It's possible they got the extra 5 XP from getting egged, so maybe that's just, why, they caught up, or... I mean, it's not, it's not the same person who caught up. You can see some UI bugs. There's already like displaying some haste. So, yeah, we have a lot of poison, they have a lot of poison. We have a lot of healing, they have a lot of regen. The problem with healing, right, is that you can only heal for health you actually have. So this is double casting, which means we're getting huge heals, right? We're getting, I think we even crit near the end, so we probably healed for 10,000. But a lot of that's probably overhealed. Where something like shielding, at least, you can't, the overshielding is helpful. Non-weapon items we're looking for. Clever is great, but I don't think we need it here. I think we will just take the 10% buff. It is very expensive, but we do have a little bit of stuff we could sell in order to get like a pufferfish or other upgrade. I think we just take the gold here. We could definitely use an enchantment. I think we just take 6 gold. We really would love to... There's a couple things that would be really helpful. This is the same thing we just fought. We can definitely beat it, obviously. Again, nothing super good for us to get here, but hopefully it won't matter. It's all about the XP, really. Like, they hit our water wheel, which I guess is our engine. I think last time I said, this is our best item, whatever. But that's sort of the engine that makes the whole thing go, but, we have so much poison on them that they have no chance. So we get the win there. Something to sell. 5 XP. That means we will level up before the end of the day. Any chance this sells things we actually need? No, it doesn't look like it. This is very interesting. If this was maybe platinum, you could maybe think of swapping this out. It's hard to, like... I mean, +1 multicast just really does seem to make things just go off. We're still looking for the final upgrade of this, increases its scaling, which is obviously super valuable. Okay, getting an upgrade here is good. I wonder if the upgrade's better on pufferfish, though, is my thought. Reducing its cooldown. I think so. The thing is, okay, every time something charges, this is going to charge in even increments. Yeah, I think it's still better. It's possible the skill's just better here, actually. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Because if it's just taking, increments of 2, it does making it like on an odd number bad, but there's a tick rate thing. So it's possible that like if you're getting 4 ticks of it, this will trigger on like 4 ticks, but this goes off at 5. So our whole board doesn't start till 5 seconds. So I think we can get like chain frozen. Yeah. Do we just get chain frozen for the whole thing? Do we just not get to cast anything? This thing is like a new build I've seen. And it seems really strong. Yeah, I think we're just chain frozen. We don't get to cast. Yeah, this is a wild build. Um, when you when an adjacent item poisons, charge this. When an adjacent item slows or freezes, so these things like go back and forth, I guess. So like these charge this. That's interesting. What are these like this? Some kind of bug friend thing. So I think enchants. I think we're actually gonna go for an enchant here because enchants are so good on this, and I think we actually don't need the crit as much as we want. I think we could go crit. Is it 50%? Maybe 50% is just good. Although we have so many haste things, I imagine we eventually get um, this goes up to 100 fairly quickly. But the slow is great. Basically, anytime something casts, we'll get a slow. And these are all great. These are all casting a billion times. Again, we're just looking for these 2 items. We don't find them. I guess we'll also take a pearl upgrade just to have it. Oh, a heal. Let's enchant something with a heal. So everything's enchanted except for these 2. I think pearl just triggers more. We'll just get as many heals as we can. It's also nice. It triggers a bunch. It will maybe cleanse off the poison. We'll take octopus. It gives us the most XP. It will allow us to hit level 17. Also, this is one of the rare builds I've had where you only have 1 medium item. Obviously, getting a cooldown reduction on the pufferfish would be very nice here. So, there's some upside. Getting the octopus is fine. 50 gold. So this is our final day, final battle. We apply 2,000 poison, that's quite a bit. And how much do we heal and shield for? Okay, so this did a little 1,500 healing, not too bad. There's some margin there. I think this doesn't generally enchant very well. And freeze, ammo, not interested in. Freeze, maybe. There's like a freeze on poison. I think Vanessa stuff is better. When you use an aquatic item, haste a weapon. That's not what we're looking for. We don't have any weapons. These all actually say weapon on them. This is all weapon. This literally just gives us, we'll get 4 crit chance, I guess. Get a slow item. Okay, that's actually probably the best slow item we could have got because it allows us to just buff something that's already on board, which is really nice. This now goes up to 4 seconds, which is very, very nice. So Chocolate Buzz is just extra health. I think just taking the upside of a possible pufferfish is better. We don't have slow triggers that we would otherwise see. If we had something like triggered off slows, you could imagine something like this. And yeah, there's 16 with 17. It looks like we both got egged. This is the final battle. Might be matchup dependent. For both poison builds, I think we have a very high scaling poison build. If they are like a one-shot build, So they have a fire build, which, again, I keep talking about, but I think it's pretty good against poison. It's just going to be about, who can put up raw numbers. Looks like we're at 400 poison. I mean, we're about the same, but we have a lot of healing, which is nice. And we're stacking the poison higher than the stacking burn. Yeah, healing, I think, is just going to push us through. Yeah, so, this was a pretty strong version of this build. It's interesting, we did ride our enchanted item all the way to the end game, which you don't always do. And it was very, very good. Well, it poisoned as much as this did, and it just healed. I mean, these are both enchanted gold items. This one's a small one. So you'd expect this to be, this pufferfish to be way more valuable. Especially since, our whole board is built around, maximizing both these items. But, pufferfish, has so many, this tasted 72 things, which meant this got, insane levels of, both of these, all these got it. Our build was very well synergized. But yeah, this was incredibly strong. Right? We got it early. Getting the poison items, and especially having a little extra effect. Healing for 12,000 this fight. I mean, this is what saved us the fight. The fact that this was enchanted. Obviously, we could have enchanted it with healing later on, but yeah, this was really great enchanted item we got. Um, so I don't know. I'm very happy with how that turned out. It was it was close. We obviously were egged, so we could have lost any time. We had no losses to give, is what I mean. We got honestly what one of the things that made this build is we got. I mean, this didn't do anything unfortunately, but we got so many amazing skills. We had a couple duds, right? We never got any burn, but we had buff to poison, which was obviously great on these. This is getting the double poison. This is getting heal off this. This is hasting additional things. Obviously, we have tons of haste triggers. We got this off the Lich, I think, right? We get this off the Lich, I think. Freezing. I think that won us one fight. This obviously was giving us crit chance. We, only started off with 20, but this triggered 72 times, I think it said. So we were close to 100 crit chance by the end. Obviously, it goes up, it's sort of, actually, we probably had 100, right? Because we have all these additional triggers. Like this is an additional 5. I don't know if this is this 3 triggers? Yeah, this is an additional 3 maybe. So we had a lot of great skills. We didn't actually have as many skills as I thought. I thought we sort of had. Sometimes you just have like a whole bunch of them. We had a couple that were doing nothing. Obviously, we had sort of 4 skills that were doing just stone nothing, but the rest of them were really great. And yeah, the poison build is something I don't go for too much because I think you're very vulnerable to like one-shotting or two-shotting. Even with the healing we had, this really kicks in, right? So you have to think. Imagine we have 7,000 health. Imagine I have like a sniper rifle build or a Langesian build, something like that, that's hitting for like 3,000 or 4,000 damage. It had to be let's say 4,000 damage. It's 2,000 plus the crit. Let's say that kills us in 2 shots. That's probably going off the same time the pearl is. Our board doesn't do anything for the first 5 seconds, right? Because this is the first time you use an item. These are all first time you use items. So there's a vulnerability to, and we're at level 17, which is a pretty good level. There's a vulnerability to just, before we do anything, they crit us once. We drop to half health, we freeze. Then we start going, but this still is only going off every 2.5 seconds because it's perma-hasted. Which is a lot, obviously. I mean, it's very good. But there is, until this ramps too, right? This at the beginning is only healing for 120. That's just going to do nothing, basically. At some point, it's going to start healing for, thousands at a time, and then, our victory is just overwhelming. Just pure numbers. But, we just have a lot of vulnerability to being one-shot or disrupted before we cast everything. Because before the first 5 seconds, we're sort of sitting ducks. We have no disruptive ability until we start casting when we have a ton of defense plus these slow triggerings, which is one of the reasons I wanted to upgrade this one. Just getting tons and tons of slow really does disrupt quite a bit because I don't know how many times we were casting each fight, but I think it was like this went off like 30 times, this went off 30 times, and this went off 10 times. So it was a huge amount to like the whole board should be slowed most of the game. So this was good. I think last time I ended up with a sniper build. This time a poison build. Much closer this time, but good to get a win. Great enchanted item. That was really what got us to the early game, and then obviously just we rolled into it late game. You don't have to be married to it, but if this build sort of like really progressed. I always say like your early game builds don't have to resemble your end game builds, but this one sort of did just because it was there was like a neat progression of it. So thanks for watching.